If you're in search of an easier way to get into your 2018 or newer two-door JL Wrangler, get some good side protection for your Jeep, and also achieve a heavy-duty look, these Barricade HD drop side step bars are going to be right up your alley. Now this set of steps will be great for any JL owner who's looking for better accessibility into their cab, especially with the addition of a lift or a leveling kit and need the extra drop compared to a standard side step bar. I would also recommend these to more of the daily driver or light trail rider considering the drop in the steps, so if you do plan on doing any crawling, I would just keep the clearance here in mind. Now these steps will feature a large stepping surface here, offering a decent amount of space to put your foot while getting roughly a 2-inch drop. Now the stepping surface here will have some large raised cutouts, which will give you some extra traction in the wetter days. Now the top of the side step here is also going to do a great job at covering a lot of that rocker area and tuck very closely, which will offer a clean look and double as some really good side protection for day-to-day or again, light off-road driving. Now speaking of protection, these will be made of a steel tube and steel plate construction, giving them a good durability if they do end up taking a hit, and will have a nice black powder coat finish on top to match with any other heavy duty accessories, and most importantly, protect the steel underneath from rusting. Not to mention the hybrid between the tubing up at the top and the plate step here is going to offer a nice off-road and heavy duty look to the side of the JL. Now these are going to come in at roughly $325, which I think is a pretty good price for a drop-down step. Now comparing to the other choices in the category, I really like the fact that these steps aren't going to drop significantly low, so clearance in normal situations won't be compromised much at all, and this is still going to get you that added drop that you need when getting in and out. Not to mention, this will have that tubed and angular construction for more of a unique look, so I think if you're looking for those aspects out of a step, then this is going to be a great choice for you. Now when it comes to install, this will be an easy 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you about 2 hours to get both of these mounted up with some pretty basic hand tools. At this point though, we can head over to the shop and check out how to do that step by step. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
The tools you'll need for this install are going to be a 13mm wrench, a 10mm wrench, a 13mm 3/8 socket, and a 10mm 3/8 socket, as well as a 3/8 ratchet, or in my case I used a 3/8 impact. Hey everyone, we're going to be installing a set of drop side steps on this JK Wrangler. Luckily there's nothing to uninstall, so let's jump right into that install. The first thing we're going to do is take a look at these brackets that are included in the kit. Now on them it is engraved which ones they are. You're going to see something like this, PF, which stands for passenger side front, and then I got this other one here which is PR, or passenger side rear. I'm going to grab the two for the passenger side because that's the side we're working on. Now that I have these two brackets, we're good to start attaching them to the vehicle. So we're here at the pinch weld on the front of the vehicle, and I'm holding this bracket, the bracket that's supposed to be here, PF, and it only can really go one way. We got a bolt hole up here through the top, and you'll see that those two holes will line up through this bracket. So included with the kit, there's a whole bunch of hardware, but you'll actually see that there's a few of these bolts that already have a washer and a lock washer on them. Now these are to go up into the bottom of the chassis through the bracket. It's going to be tough to see here, but I'm putting this bolt through here, and then there is a hole right up there that they thread into. Just going to get it started by hand. Now I have my 13mm socket on a 3/8 impact. I'm going to zip it up there, but I'm not going to go all the way tight because we still need to line up those two pinch weld holes. So I want to make sure there's enough play in that I can get those bolts through. Now we're good to go ahead and do the same step on the other side. Now I'm at that spot towards the back where we can do the same thing. I've got the bracket that belongs in the back with that same bolt here, and I'm going to pass it through, mount it up into that same bolt hole spot there, get it started with my hand, and then again I'm taking my 13mm socket on my 3/8 impact, putting it up there, but I'm not tightening it all the way down. Now at this point we're good to go ahead and insert those 4 bolts here that go through the pinch weld into that bracket. So for those guys there, we're going to be using these longer 10mm bolts that are included with the kit. Now to put those through, first we're going to take that bolt and we're going to put a flat washer on. Then we're good to pass it through the hole just like that. And on the back side of that guy, we're gonna be putting another flat washer on the other side of the pinch weld. And then there's 10mm nylon nuts included with the kit as well. I'm gonna get onto the back. Now you're only gonna be able to get those so far by hand because there is nylon in them that kind of cuts into the thread while you tighten it. So get it as far as you can by hand, and I'm gonna do the same thing with that bolt, the washer, going through this side, then another washer, and then that nut here as well. Just gonna get it started. Then to tighten those down, I'm gonna be using my 3/8 impact, but this time I'm gonna be using a 10mm socket, as well as a 10mm wrench that I'm gonna reach up behind and hold that nut still while I spin the bolt. You're gonna notice that I'm not gonna tighten this all the way because we need to have a little bit of adjustment in the brackets to get that step mounted up and get it centered properly. Yep, went a little bit too far. And make sure we have a little bit of movement out of them. Just like that. See there's side to side play in that. Then I'm gonna move to the back one and do the same thing. Bolt through. Sure on the back. Now we're good to go ahead and put this guy on here. So I'm gonna line it up. It's looking like they're gonna sit on the inside of these brackets. Just like that. Should slide into place fairly easily. Kind of see that lines up pretty good. All we need to do is pass some bolts through those two brackets to attach them to each other. So the hardware you're gonna need for these brackets to attach to the steps are these long 13mm bolts that are in the kit. We're gonna take a lock washer, drop down all the way, and then on top of that, a nice big flat washer. Then it's gonna pass through, and on the other side of that, we're gonna use another flat washer, and then one of those 13mm nuts that are in the kit as well. So this might be a little tricky holding this, passing a bolt through as well. So I'm gonna slip it where it needs to go. Kind of have it up against my chest to support it a little bit. I'm gonna take that first bit of the bolt we built there, pass it through, and then just a little bit of a pro tip, you should be able to take the weight off this a little bit and it'll kind of hold itself there. Then I'm taking that washer we talked about, putting it there on the bolt, and then the nut here on the other side. I'm gonna get that on with my hand to the point where it's holding it tight, but it's not secured, so we can still get some movement out of this. Then I can do that same thing again. I'm taking another one of those bolts with the crush washer, regular washer. I'm gonna do the same thing on the hole that's farther back in the bracket as well. Make sure you're lined up on the other side there. There's that. Pass it through. Again, should kind of hold its weight. And get the other side to cooperate. And I'm taking a big washer, same thing as the front bolt on the inside there, and another one of those 13mm nuts. Again, I'm just getting it tight by hand here, keeping it somewhat loose so we can still adjust it. Then I'm gonna do that same thing I just did there on the back bracket. Now that we have everything loosely attached to the vehicle, we're good to go ahead and start tightening things down. And you can see since we left everything loose, there is a good bit of adjustment where we can get this side step sitting exactly how we want. Now that we have those 4 bolts through the pinch welds into those brackets, we're good to tighten up those very first bolts we put in that come up through the bottom of the bracket. So I'm gonna take my 13mm socket on my 3/8 impact. I'm gonna go underneath and just zip those up tight. Just like that. In the front, and then on the back bracket. Now I'm gonna switch over to my 10mm socket and my 10mm wrench. And we're gonna tighten up those bolts here that goes through the pinch weld. I'm reaching behind the wrench, tightening that down. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just like that. Now we can be sure that our adjustment is entirely in the step itself, because those bolt holes on the step and on the bottom of the bracket are wallowed out. So we can move it up and down, get the height and the angle that we'd like out of it. So I'm gonna kind of hold it where I think looks good. I'm gonna do some eyeballing here. I wanna make sure that this step is somewhat level as well. That's a big deal. You don't wanna have a dangly step. Have it like that, get it kind of where it needs to be, right about there. It's good enough for me. And we can go ahead and start tightening those 4 bolts down. Now to do that, what I can do is just kind of get it to start compressing that lock washer by hand. If I can get one tight enough, just like that, it'll pinch it and kind of hold it close to where I want so that I can let go and use my impact. So that's gonna stay pretty near to where I want it. Switching back to that 13mm socket on 13mm wrench here on the other side. I'm using my forearm, just like this, to kind of hold the step where I want. And that allows me to put that impact on, tighten that bolt. That looks pretty good, lined up. Can tighten that back one. And then I'm gonna move on to that bracket in the front and tighten those down too. Now that you got this side completely secured, you're good to go ahead and move on to the other side and follow this exact same procedure. And there you have it, that is install complete. That was the Barricade HD drop side step bars for the 2007 to 2018 Jeep Wrangler JK 2-door. For all things Jeep, remember to keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.